Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the LeadForward Summit 2025. My name is Anigha, and I'll be your session moderator for this session. I'm a volunteer in the Mentoring Club, and I'm thrilled to have you join us for this exciting event dedicating to inspiring leaders through mentorship. Some housekeeping rules. The chat is disabled, so please put your questions into Q&A section and we will review it and ask the panelists later on. Depending on the time, we can ask you to enable your audio to ask your questions to the panelists. This session is a panel discussion on leadership and entrepreneurship, the challenges, choices, and triumphs. Now, to guide us through this discussion, I'd like to introduce our panel speakers, Mayan Gordon, Mayusare Liadi, Victoria Theodore, and our panel moderator, Pete Alexander. Pete, the floor is yours to invite our speakers for their introductions.
Thank you, Annika. So I'd like to introduce our esteemed panel here. So Mayan, would you like to connect in first?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really a pleasure to be here. Thank you guys so much for having me.
And Moyasori.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. And Victoria.
Hello, it's an honor to be here, and I'm excited to share this panel with these incredible people.
Me too. Me too. This is going to be a lot of fun. So the questions that we've got coming up here are going to be for all three of you. Obviously, if you don't really have an answer for one, don't worry, just go ahead and pass. But let's go ahead and get started with our first question, which is, please take us through your story on how you became a successful entrepreneur. Mayan, you want to start first?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got my start actually when I was in college and I was looking for a way to make money. And I used a skill that I had just developed on my own, which was writing. And I found all these little copywriting gigs. And that was really something that allowed me to start exploring, how to make money online on my own without a structured like W-2 job. And then from there, I moved on to creating my first business. And the way that I did that was really, I just dove in and I tried things and I failed at things and I figured out what worked. And then when I figured out what worked, I just built upon that. And that's really how I've gotten to where I am today, is just by not being afraid to jump in and make mistakes and learn from them.
Wonderful. Moyasori, would you like to go next?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. So as introduced, my name is Mayusare Liadi. I am the founder and CEO of Modified Enterprises, a medical consumables company based here in Lagos, Nigeria. So how did I start this? It was literally right here in my living room. I used to work for a medical consumables company, Johnson & Johnson at the time, and we had a lot of inventory issues. We're always out of stock and the likes. And, I had already built relationships with so many clients, were relying on me to ensure that I provided solutions for them. So I started thinking outside the box. I mean, I was like, how else can this product be brought into the country? There has to be a way. And, I just started researching. I went on Alibaba, AliExpress, started searching for the products, and that was how I started. And that's how we are here today. And it hasn't been all through rosy, but I can say I don't have any regrets starting the company. Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. And Victoria, how about you?
Well, I'm an artist and a musician, and so I always followed the instinct and the calling of the arts. And at the same time, I was always aware of how do I commoditize something that just pops into my mind to create value that people appreciate that then I can build a business from. And so music has offered me the lane to be able to determine that, combined with a true desire to provide value, inspiration, and expression to people who aren't necessarily connected to the arts and people who are also artists.
Wonderful. All right, our second question, and we'll start with Moyasori. This is what leadership qualities do you think are most critical for entrepreneurs to develop?
Thank you so much, Pete, for that question. There are quite a lot of qualities that it's required for a leadership to develop, but I would just pinpoint on two. For me, I would say one of the most critical qualities is authenticity and integrity. those two things are quite important. Being your integrity says a lot about you, and your intensity also says a lot about you. Those two things can either make or break you as an individual. Another thing is strategic decision making, being able to make decisions, for the betterment of the company, and being able to take firm decisions as well, that it doesn't always have to be about the money. Are you really providing solutions for the end users? So those are some of the qualities amongst many others, which I know my other panelists will be talking about. Thank you.
Yeah, those are excellent ones. Victoria, how about you?
Empathy is very, very important, because that helps you to be able to understand your customer and understand how what you're offering can solve a problem for them. That's really where you can grow the business in every field. The greatest is solving problems for actual people, and then they'll naturally gravitate toward you and want to stay. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, and being able to communicate to them, because sometimes they may not realize that they have the problem. So that's a great one. Wonderful. And Mayan, how about you?
You took the word right out of my mouth. My two that I had ready: communication and accountability. And communication, like I've met so many people, because I do marketing consulting and business development right now, and they have this amazing service or product, but no one really either understands what it is or how it's going to help them, because they struggle in being able to communicate it. And then, accountability, I think, is just one facet. I love the word integrity because it really encompasses so many different features. But one kind of facet of that I find really, really important is accountability, not only to other people and your customers, but especially to yourself. And, if you say something, holding up your word that you're going to do it, not just because other people are relying on you, but because you're relying on yourself to lead yourself. And I think in leadership, we talk a lot about leading others, but it really starts with us.
Yeah, that's a great point. Do you find that with accountability, it's beneficial to have an accountability partner?
I definitely think it's helpful. Absolutely. Like I can say, for me, like my husband is a huge accountability partner for me. I think other people, like if you're not married, finding a colleague, it can be anyone, but someone that you feel you really don't want to let down, having that intrinsic motivation, that emotional motivation is really, really helpful to help push you to, your higher self.
Would agree, definitely. All right, our third question. We'll go ahead and start with Victoria. So, what has been the biggest challenge you've faced as an entrepreneur, and how did your leadership style help you overcome it?
Wow, that's a really good one. The probably the greatest challenge being an artist is financial resources, right? Because the thing is, when you're an artist, you have to put so much time into developing skill set, and that never ends. You can become the greatest, fastest piano, whatever it is in your art form in a singular moment, but if you don't maintain that skill set, which requires hours of time, then your skills will decline. It is just a fact, right? Like with any athlete, any musician, any singer, any artist, that's just the nature of the field, is that we have to feed it on a regular basis. And unfortunately, unless you're in a system where the government supports artists, there's nobody pays you to do that skill development, but it's still required. So whatever you're doing on top of whatever you do to feed yourself, until you get to the point where you've converted your art form into feeding you with enough financial resources, because that's the other thing too. Musicians in particular, and dancers, on your day-to-day gigs, on your regular jobs, you're so vastly underpaid that very few people can break out of the cycle and get to the point where their art literally feeds them, gets them, provides a place to live. So that's the greatest challenge as an artist, because those of us who love it, we put in the time. I will happily practice for 10 hours a day, or write or arrange or whatever. And I do that endlessly in my work. But then we always have to try to figure out another way. How do I convert all of that work into sufficient income? Because trust me, venues want to pay you $100, which at least in California is not going to do very much when you consider it's 6 hours of your life maybe 7 to do a single gig when you packing it up, doing the rehearsals, doing the gig, packing back up again, chasing down your money. Sometimes venues don't pay you correctly. So that's probably the biggest challenge. And my leadership skills that have helped me to overcome it are looking big picture. Looking at what is the value I'm providing to the audience? What is the emotional catharsis that I'm providing so that they'll want to think, I'm feeling a particular emotion. What resonates that? Victoria's music. Victoria's playing. And so that's where we can do it. It's not easy to do because there's an ocean of music available now, thanks to Spotify and these other free services. But it is possible.
Wonderful. So Mayan, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine in California, $100 barely covers your gas. So, for me, I would say that first of all, there's endless challenges. You never get to a point where like you've broken through and there's no more challenges. If I had to pick what I think the greatest one has been for me so far, I would say it's not knowing what I don't know. And I made some really, really costly, painful, long recovery mistakes, especially early on in my career, because I just didn't know things and I didn't know that I didn't know. And so what leadership quality has really helped me to overcome that I really actually had to work on developing is, one, humility, but then, being willing to go ask questions to other people and rely on other people's expertise and say, you know what? I don't know what I don't know, but I know other people know it. And if I can just start conversations with people who are more experienced than me, who have different experiences than me, and I'm open to hearing what they have to say, kind of let that ego go, then they're going to be really helpful in helping me become aware of those blind spots.
Yeah, that's a great point because, too many entrepreneurs think that it's a sign of weakness to have to ask questions of others. And in reality, that's not the case. It's you're trying to be better. And so I think that that's really important and, where mentorship obviously comes into play. So, and to wrap this question up, Moyesori, what do you think?
Yeah, well, the biggest challenge, there's a lot for us, especially in the African space. But one I'll really point out is competitive market, competing with established brand, because you have the loyalty of some of your clients, but then you have some clients who would tell you point blank, it's Johnson and Johnson or nothing. So how do you convert such customers to become loyalists to your brand as well? So that was a big challenge initially. So how I used my leadership skills, I positioned the products, the features and benefits of the product rather than me as a person or my brand. So I kept positioning the features and the benefits. This is what this product is going to do for you. It's not even about me. It's not about, a relationship I already have with you. And my product is also coming at a more affordable price and it's readily available, which is one of the issues we were having in the past, with all the established brand. So you want something that is readily available, I'm giving it to you. You want something that is affordable, I'm giving it to you. And, we have feedbacks from other surgeons or doctors who have used it. You can give a call to one or two of your colleagues to find out, okay, this product that Moyo gave to you, how was it? Did it really stand the test of time? And so far so good. We got a lot of good reports and, I believe that's why we are still in the market right now, because the relationships you build can either make or break you. They can, if your product is not good enough, it can literally end in a splash of seconds. So it was very important to also ensure that, you're bringing in high quality products into the markets that would solve the solutions that you're trying to provide. So that's it, aside from many other challenges that we face daily as an entrepreneur.
Sure. And, it's interesting what you were talking about, as a marketing specialist, no amount of fantastic marketing can save a bad product or service. So you hit that nail right on the head. So wonderful. Now, a little slightly different kind of a question from the previous one. When you're looking back on your career as of today, is there something that you wish you had done differently as an entrepreneur? And Mayan, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I wish I would have started learning as a part of, my entrepreneurial development in business earlier. And what I mean, like I was learning through doing, but I wasn't taking additional time. Kind of like Victoria was saying, there's skill development in any, I think, business that you go into. And for me, the skill
Mhm.
development that I really needed was understanding like budgeting and finances and things that I'm not as passionate about. And I kind of
Mhm.
had this idea, as long as I'm making enough money to pay my bills, what do I need to create, a budget or understand forecasting for? But then as I was scaling, I realized I hadn't built in enough margins, and there were all of these other issues that popped up. And so, if I could go back and do it again, like I'm very happy for all the mistakes that I made because I learned valuable lessons, but I would have preemptively started, structured learning in areas that I, really didn't have a base of knowledge in.
Yeah, it's interesting. As you're describing that, I'm thinking about myself in the early stages of my career too. I'm thinking cash flow. I didn't even think about that, because you're making money, but if more money's going out the door than what's coming in, that's not a good situation long term. So wonderful. All right, and Moisari, what do you think?
Just like Mayan said, it was a case of you're making money, you're not keeping records. And which is why I'm going to go back to when she mentioned about accountability. It got to a point, one of my friends was my accountability partner. So I had to
Mm,
send in a daily report. What's the income? What's the expense? To be, to know if you're actually even making any significant money, because it was like, yeah, money is coming in, but is it really coming in? Is it the kind of margin you're looking at? So I think those were some of the issues that I look back at now and be like, okay, we could have done better. Also, in terms of marketing and brand recognition. So literally, it was just bringing in the product, and then
mhm.
just, using relationships to sell. But I feel I could have done a more marketing campaign, to put the product out there, and we're trying to do better as we scale up now over this year.
Wonderful. And Victoria, to wrap this question up.
What I would do differently is I would have stepped into this space of being an artist in my own right sooner. I toured
Mm,
with Stevie Wonder for 7 years. I toured with Beyonce for 6 years. And while those were wonderful, great jobs, I was a support artist. And while I was with Stevie, I never released any of my own music until after I had left the band. And now I have my own band. And would this be a good time to play a little snippet of my band, of my video?
sure, absolutely.
All right. So this is my band in spirits. This is a video from our Tiny Desk submission. We are in spirits, and this is our Tiny Desk submission. Do you have a minute to say hello? Don't wanna be rude, but I really like to know you. 'Cause I saw you standing across the room, and there's only one thing that I'd like to do. You, let's take a chance. Come on and dance with me. You know you wanna do it. This time, party till the music stops and then we start again. Oh, 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 oh. You got me saying, oh, 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 oh. Making me crazy, oh, 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 oh. Come on and take it, oh, 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 oh. I could be your lover, I could be your friend. I am hoping for the first, just being honest. 'Cause if you're ready to take a ride, take me up and do it till the morning light. Let's take a chance. All right, so that's my
Wow.
song, Oh. So yeah, I would have started doing that sooner because there is nothing as exciting as performing my own music for audiences. Now, I've performed in front of literally millions of people with Stevie and Beyonce. That's exciting. Trust me. Playing for in Wembley Stadium for 90,000 people, on Copacabana Beach for 800,000 people. Amazing. Nothing like it, except doing my own music, even if it's only for a few. So I wish I would have done more of that sooner. But you don't know till you know.
Yeah, that's really great. And I'm curious, just as an extension of that, since you worked with Beyonce and Stevie Wonder and other celebrities, I mean, has anything caught you by surprise as a solo entrepreneur? Obviously, you said you don't have to have 90,000 people in the audience for your own work, but anything else that would be
Caught me by
something that you would think?
surprise.
Yeah.
No, I guess I could, because I've been in the business long enough that I understand how much of a challenge it is, how difficult it is to find virality and to break through and get enough followers that you can guarantee 100 people at a club, which means that you'll book the gig. So, that I don't know if I would call that a surprise per se, but it's a frustration.
Oh, gotcha. Well, thank you. Mayan, specifically for your business, as a community builder and a leader, what is one tactic entrepreneurs can take to build a thriving community that turns followers into loyal customers?
Yeah, I would say the one thing that has always been super effective for me, it still continues to be effective and is a differentiator, is just being really high touch and taking the time to personally connect with people. And I know that,
Mm,
especially through social media, we have this one to many mechanism, but really taking the time to respond to every comment with something like thoughtful and meaningful, not just, thanks or, like thumbs up or an emoji. And sending people messages like that really come from the heart can be hugely impactful, especially if the platform allows for a voice note feature. One,
hmm
because a lot of people aren't using it. I've gotten tons of feedback from people who said, wow, I didn't even know this platform had a voice note feature. And, allowing people to hear the emotion and the caring in your voice, it's really not replicable through digital text. So taking the time to personally connect one-on-one with the people who are engaging with you is incredible.
Thank you for that. And Moisori, specifically for your business, what is one piece of advice you would give to an entrepreneur who's interested in getting into the pharmaceutical or medical device industry?
Thank you so much, please, for that question. Ah, the one piece of advice I would say is you have to build strong relationship with your healthcare professionals and stay up to date with the industry trend. Because for me, that's what helped me. I mean, I have customers as far back as when I was in GSK. I started my career in GSK as an intern, and then I've worked with several medical consumables companies as well as pharmaceuticals. So, I've been able to build I've been able to build relationships over the years with a lot of healthcare professionals who are now the people that are rooting for me or that are, singing praises of me because of that relationship. So I think it's very key if you're starting in such business. It's very important to develop a strong relationship with healthcare professionals across all boards, nurses, doctors, lab. And then aside from that, you also need to build relationships with end users, like the procurement officers, the finance, because yeah, you market to the doctor, but who's gonna pay for it if the hospital is the one buying it? So you need that relationship across, all the essential departments within an institution. And with that, I think where you'd go a long way. If you're interested, please feel free to hit me for any advice or anything. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm sure information will be put up online as well.
Great. And just to clarify, when you said the acronym GSK, that's
Yes.
GlaxoSmithKline. Okay, just wanted to
Yes.
be a former
Yes.
pharmaceutical industry person as well.
Okay, great. Yes.
All right. The final question I want to ask the three of you before we turn it over to audience member questions. for those in the audience just starting out, what's one small actionable step they can take towards entrepreneurship? And Moisori, why don't you start?
Okay, I would say start small, but start now. Don't be hesitant to take, a leap of faith to go for it. Yeah, I know building a business can be overwhelming and all of that, but a lot of all the successful entrepreneurs that we know today started small. So that would be my one piece of advice. Start small, but start now.
Yeah, and would you agree that start now and don't worry about making the mistakes, because a lot of people are hesitant because they don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Be ready to make mistakes and pick yourself up and be ready to learn as you go along as well. That's the only way you can grow.
Perfect. Thank you. Victoria, what do you think?
I think that was absolutely correct. Another perspective is, so I'm a polyglot. I study many languages and I love going to different places and being able to speak, even though some of the languages is a very, very beginner level, but people still respond to you in an incredible way when they see, especially an American, trying to speak another language. So one of the things that I learned in my study as a polyglot is the only way to actually learn a language is to get accustomed to making mistakes. A goal is actually to make 100 errors a day. If you're making 100 errors a day, you are speaking a language. And the same applies for business. Be willing to step in and make mistakes, because those mistakes are gold. They show you where you need to adjust, what you need to learn, where you become stronger, how you can better connect with an audience or a client. Mistakes are not a problem. Not learning from them is.
Oh, that's powerful. And, I to extend on that, people, they're worried about making a mistake. Well, we all are going to make mistakes when we're going into uncharted territory that we've never been before. So we got to realize that those mistakes are actually not mistakes, but it's literally getting feedback on what works and what doesn't. So it's a really good point. And Mayan, how about you for wrapping up this question?
Yeah, I think we're, all saying different sides to the same thing, because those are like, that's the core of it, is taking action, not being afraid to make mistakes. And I'll just add to that, picking a goal to center those actions around. That way, I know when I started early, I was doing a lot of different things without any direction. And I think it would have been a lot more effective to have one specific goal that, allowed me to make mistakes and to take action in a way where I could see and feel progress towards whatever that goal was. And I think that can be part of the motivation and the energy that helps us get through and over those mistakes, is to know, what, I'm getting closer to something that is meaningful and important to me.
Next question would be, how do you balance staying true to your vision while managing day-to-day execution? So, Victoria, how about you start with that one?
Oh boy, day-to-day execution is the bane of my existence. It's so difficult to keep track. So I'm doing, we all do a lot. So right now, I'm currently in La Jolla, California, working as the music director on a world premiere musical called 3 Summers of Lincoln. And music directing requires a ton of work, many, many weeks on end of not much sleep until the thing launches. And it's a beautiful thing to have a wonderful new musical. I'm also composing 2 musicals. So I had a workshop of one of them in New York in December, and I'm going to the world premiere of another one in, it opens May 29 in San Francisco. So that's all of that work. And then I've also got my own band, and I've got students that I teach as well. So that's a lot. But I still have to figure out how to market my band, create the content to do such marketing, still practicing piano, drums, singing, arranging, orchestrating, a lot of different things. So I rely on the concept of time boxing. So my calendar is ugly. It is loaded with little time boxes of okay, for this segment, this is where you're going to exercise because, of course, we have to exercise, take care of oneself, and eat meals. And then this segment is for orchestrating. This segment is for marketing. This segment is for actual work in person, teaching music to actors that are be on stage. So I find time boxing to be very useful. I find meditation to be very useful to help me to remain in a space of neutrality so I don't go crazy with this wild schedule of mine.
Wonderful. Yeah, it doesn't sound like you got much on your plate.
You know.
All right, Mayan, how about you?
Yeah, I can really relate to that. I've got 4 different communities that I'm working to launch with other entrepreneurs or creators. I've got 2 existing communities that I'm managing. I wrote a book that recently finished, so dealing with like the whole printing and like book launch stuff. I'm also like 8 months pregnant, so I'm dealing with that. Among like a hand, like again, same creating content every day, making sure when I do like webinar collabs that I have an agenda. There's like a million little pieces to a million different things. And so for me, what I find really helpful is a very basic checklist that I always have the like highest priority item or the most, and sometimes highest priority means most urgent, like it has to get done that day. And the other things there's a little bit more time for. And that is my like go-to if I have any free time outside of what I've time blocked or meetings. I look at that list and I do the thing at the top of the list, no matter how I'm feeling. And in terms of, keeping all of that execution on track with and managing that against big picture vision of what I'm trying to build. Really, I these days leverage ChatGPT a lot. I put in all of my minutia into ChatGPT and I record all my meetings and it put in all my spreadsheets and everything that I have. And I say, look, my brain is so full of the minutia. ChatGPT, can you help me understand where what direction I'm going this week? And like, what is the number one thing that I can get done to, push my big vision forward? And that helps me to kind of like balance the big goal where at least once a week I'm taking a step back with help. And you could do this with a mentor, a coach, a partner to say, I feel like I'm too in the weeds. Can you help pull me back? And where am I even at when it comes to the big picture right now?
Yeah, and that's a really good point because you get buried with so many things, and especially when you're so focused on one particular goal, there's things that you can miss, kind of like those blinders on. So, very, very good point. And Moisore, do you want to wrap this one up for us?
For me, I'd say prioritize tasks. It can be overwhelming. So I've got a small team of people working with me. So, I just prioritize tasks. I take the ones that are high impact, highly prioritized, and I work on those, ensuring stock availability, inventory, talking to our suppliers and all of that. I take on that role. But when it comes to, day-to-day delivery, requests from our clients and all of that, I prioritize that to the other members of the team so that I'm not overwhelmed. Along dealing with 2 boys, I still have to take care of the kids, do the homework and all of that. So I try to take a break whenever I can. So when I'm overwhelmed, I go to the gym. That's that's what I do. I go exercise, and then by the time I'm back, I feel a little bit better. So you can't do it all, to be very honest. So, and then I also leverage on technology. I use QuickBooks for all of my invoicing and all of that. So, that way it calculates your weekly progress, monthly progress, as long as you put in your details, as daily. So that helps. And then we have other areas where we give to outside consultants to handle for us so that we're not overwhelmed as a person or as a team, like that. So that's just how we keep it going day to day.
Yep, and our business does QuickBooks as well, just automating almost everything. But you're right, you have to put in, Mayan said as well, you have to put the data in, and it has to be correct data. So we do have some questions from the audience. First one is, what mindset shifts are essential for someone transitioning from being an employee to becoming an entrepreneur? So Mayan, you want to give that one a shot first?
I will pass to the other two beautiful women because I dove right in I dropped out of college into entrepreneurship. So I
Okay.
really have no employee experience and I'm pretty unhireable.
Hear that. All right, Moyasori, what
Okay.
about you?
I started, 9 to 5. Like I said, I started with Glasgow Smith's client, and then from there I moved to May and Baker, all of this. And when the opportunity to become an entrepreneur came up, I didn't immediately resign. I was juggling both jobs together until I felt okay, I'm now well grounded in the industry space. I think now I can, and then COVID happened. So that kind of made the 9 to 5 job also, we're working from home. So it was an opportunity for me, to grow my business. To be very honest, when everybody's talking about COVID being a bad year, I talk about it being a good year because it was an opportunity for me to leverage on what I was trying to do. I sold face masks, I sold, gloves, and, I used all the opportunity I could at the point to put out the product. So it kind of made me popular for that reason. So, and then by 2021, the company I was working for wasn't doing too well. And I felt, okay, I think it's high time I exit. So it wasn't like I just jumped out of the 9 to 5. It was a gradual exit from 9 to 5. So if you're looking to transition, unless you're literally making $1 million right away, then you can just, resign or jump out of. But if not, I think it's a gradual step that you need to take. And once you find your footing in the industry, whatever industry that you are in, then you can exit the 9 to 5 job and become a full-time entrepreneur.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Victoria, what's your perspective here?
Like I mentioned earlier, I worked with big celebrities, and I did try to do both at the same time, thinking, okay, when I'm on tour with Stevie and in my hotel room, I'll write songs. And it's just, you can't. It demands way too much. When you're the support artist, you have to learn their material so deeply that they trust you, that they know if anything goes wrong, if the electricity goes down, the pianist can still hop on the piano and handle all the parts, to be able to sing all the parts, to know how to deal with the lighting changes. And I mean, you have explosions going on around you. So just, it takes up all of your brain space. And so what I found was that it was impossible to maintain a career as a full-time support artist and step into the realm of being an independent artist. So in making the transition, it's no different from having a job and moving into being an entrepreneur. It's the same concept. You have to believe that you can. And if you believe that you can, then you just put one foot in front of the other and just ignore the fear. Ignore the no's when people tell you, I've never heard of you. And I don't care. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. I'm going to put out music. I'm going to write my letters to the venues. I'm going to submit to the Tiny Desk, which I showed you, and do everything that I can to share my music. Because no doesn't mean that you asked the wrong question. You just asked the wrong person. So the right person will give you a yes. So you just keep asking. You just keep going.
I
Go
really
ahead.
love how you talk. Like so many things she said resonates with me. I'm having to jot down some of these points from her.
That's right. It's an all learning for all of us, and it's also what you said, Victoria, is what resonated with me is two things. One, that when you get a no, that's actually a good thing, because the person who tells you no is telling you don't need to waste your time with them anymore. So that's one thing that we have to think about. It's actually a gift when they say no instead of, well, maybe, and then you're there trying to get in, and it ends up being no anyway. It just wastes more time. But the other thing that came to my mind was that old Henry Ford quote, that whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So it's all about the mindset. So it's really good.
Yeah.
Yep. So another question is, how do you avoid, I know we talked about this already a little bit, but how do you avoid burning the candle at both ends? So like Moyesori, you mentioned about, you know, getting into the an entrepreneurship while still working at a full-time job. You know, it's the person who asked the question is struggling with combating being too busy with earning a living. So any thoughts on that?
The only reason why I was able to jog both together was because, if you're in the sales department, you kind of have a little bit of time to yourself, because you weren't like sitting behind the desk kind of job. It was always on the field kind of job. So there was a little bit of time to push your product as well as push the other products, as long as there's no conflict of interest. So I think that was what helped me, so because I had a bit of time to myself, so I leveraged on that. I don't think it would have been so easy if I was in an office setting where I sit at the desk from 9 to 5. It might not have been that easy, but I think because I was a field staff, it kind of gave me a little bit of freedom to be able to juggle the two together.
Thank you. And the last question I think that we'll have time for is what is, and this is for all three of you, what would be your advice for someone who wants to start a business on their own, but is afraid to take the leap because they need a consistent paycheck every month? So, Victoria, how about you? You take that first.
Oh, that's so tricky. The low-hanging fruit is change your lifestyle. If you have the opportunity to share living space to reduce your overhead, that will open up a lot for you, right? If you're renting or leasing a car, stop doing that. Get rid of it. Buy an old junker, something that gets you from point A to point B. Save your money so that you can convert that saved money into time to do what you need to do, or into investment to invest in what you need to do. Because I know comfort is lovely. Who doesn't love comfort? Who doesn't love wonderful, beautiful things? But that is short term. And even when you get those things, all our brains do is say, well, what's next? Versus what's going to feed you, the thing that brings you satisfaction, that you know is you're offering as something that's going to help the world, to help somebody else. That sustains you. And if you can find any way to do that by reducing the current comfort, then I suggest that you do that.
Excellent. Mayan, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. Actually, me and my husband just moved back in with my parents so that we could, again, about to have a baby, reduce the cost, and I could still really be aggressive on building this very, very big vision that takes a lot of work and a lot of time to get off the ground and become financially successful. But the other thing I'll add to that is, another way to kind of take some of the burden and some of the fear out of starting something new is to do it with other people. So, finding co-founder or even a small group of people to start the thing that, again, is going to feed you and sustain you from an emotional, from a mission purpose standpoint, in doing it with other people, so that when you have questions and there's things you're worried about, you have other people who are doing it with you, and you're not doing it alone. I think doing things alone can be very, very scary, but when you do them with other people, you can feel not only less scared but really empowered by those people. So that would be another way to combat that, or to find around it.
Moisori, do you have any thoughts on this question?
Yeah, what I would say is ask for help. Yeah, you can't ask for help when you need, wherever you can. So just like all the other panelists that mentioned, cut down on expenses. It's not going to be easy, to be very honest. It's going to be a tough road, but if you can ask for help, from your folks, from friends that you might help, if you need to move and all of those things. Yeah, I think that would really help. And then also research on whatever it is you're about to embark on, because you have to be sure that when you do begin, it's gonna translate into a monthly income for you. So don't just jump right into it without researching or asking from people already in the industry or mentors or anything of such. So just be prepared, to fail and also grow. So yeah, I think asking for help, that would be my major point.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
So I wanted to add
sure.
that also applies to that question about burning the candle at both ends, asking for help. Because I know for myself, I have a wonderful family and extended network of friends, but especially my sister who helps me out when I'm losing my mind, and then she'll tap in and then she will just take care of something for me so that I can take a nap. So asking for help, reaching out, building a community and a network, priceless.
Love it. Well, Victoria, Moyasori, and Mayan, thank you so much for this very insightful panel. I'm going to turn it back to Annika for closing content.
Thank you, Pete. Before we wrap up, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our incredible panelists, Mayan Gordon, Moyasori Liadi, Victoria Theodore, and our panel moderator, Pete Alexander. Your insights and expertise today have truly made this session valuable and inspiring. We appreciate the time and effort you dedicated to sharing your knowledge with us today. Let's all give a virtual round of applause to our speakers. We value your feedback. Complete the session surveys to help us improve and continue delivering impactful events. As a thank you, you'll receive 1 month of free Menti subscription to the Mentoring Club for every session survey completed. Example, 6 completed surveys equal to 6 months free. A discount code will be sent to you a few days after the event. You can use it for yourself or gift it. Plus, the first 10 respondents will receive exclusive giveaways, including the Mentoring Club t-shirts and caps. Shipping limitations may apply to Oceania, Africa, and Asia due to higher costs. Thank you for helping us make a difference. Ready to dive deeper into leadership development? Join our premium workshops for in-depth multi-session learning experiences over the coming months. These workshops build on today's workshops insights and are designed to help you grow as a leader. Scan the QR code to learn more and sign up. Loving today's session? Take the next step, become a mentor or mentee. Scan the QR code to join the Mentoring Club and make a lasting impact. Get the VIP pass for on-demand access to all event recordings after the summit. It's perfect for rewatching your favorite sessions or catching the ones you might have missed. We are offering the VIP pass for $13 for 13 sessions. To celebrate our 9th anniversary with you, we're extending a 9% discount when you subscribe to the VIP pass today. Simply scan the QR code. Please join us for the next session, which is a workshop for creative thinking for effective leadership. In the meantime, feel free to connect with fellow attendees, share your thoughts, and engage with one another in the chat. This is a fantastic opportunity to expand your network and exchange ideas with like-minded individuals from around the world. In just a moment, we'll play a special 10-minute video introduction about the Mentoring Club, TMC. This video will provide you with a deeper understanding of TMC's vision, mission, core values, and insights from our mentees, mentors, volunteers, donors, and supporters. I'll remain here as a host, so if you have any questions or need assistance, don't hesitate to reach out. Let's make the most of this time and connect and learn more about the amazing work TMC is doing.
So I was in this area with tons of opportunity and tons of really interesting projects that were being worked on, but breaking into high tech was difficult. I interviewed for a bunch of different jobs and just didn't seem to get there. So I was doing some networking and came across the Mentoring Club, and after talking to Liesl, joining was really a no-brainer. I was interested in project management, which a friend of mine had suggested based on my past experience that would be a good intro into tech. After looking at Hong's experience, he was a clear choice as a mentor. Through the process, I found Hong to be open, engaging, and most importantly, full of practical advice. Since I started working with Hong, I obtained an internship at a startup. 2 months later, was offered a full-time position. 6 months after that, was promoted to be the manufacturing manager. And it's just been all go since then.
In 1998, an epiphany led me to the goal of transitioning my career from the Philippines to Silicon Valley. 2 years later, I met with people in the Valley to find a job. The dot-com bubble was bursting. I didn't get a job, but I met over 150 people. In 2002, 3 of my contacts hired me. I joined their internet consulting company. 8 years later, I became Chief Operating Officer and part owner, then exited in 2020 to focus on the Mentoring Club, my give back passion project. The Mentoring Club connects working people to accomplished leaders for leadership development mentoring. With a growing community of hundreds of mentors, mentees, volunteers, donors, and partners globally, we are changing the world one leader at a time.
What is my vision for the Mentoring Club? When I started the Mentoring Club in 2016, I declared that our mission is to provide a mentoring community for young leaders. When we launched, not only young leaders signed up, mid-career people and advanced career people signed up. And so we evolved our mission to provide a mentoring community for aspiring and seasoned leaders, where seasoned leaders refer to both the mentors and the mentees. Today, anywhere in the world, we help working people find mentors who can guide them to develop the skills they need to achieve their career and life goals. We help mentees fulfill their goals through meaningful work that creates positive impact in the world. We believe that when we're doing meaningful work, that's when the leaders in us come out because we care about the results. And when we care about the results, then that is how we can make a positive impact in the world. Ultimately, my vision is that as mentees become successful leaders, my dream is for them to become mentors to others. And that's how the cycle of giving back can continue, hopefully without end, hopefully even long after I'm gone. One of the ways we attract people into the Mentoring Club is to share our leadership core values. Our anchor values are trust, leadership, and community. Under trust, we believe that integrity, honesty, and commitment are what make us trustworthy as individuals and professionals. Under leadership, we believe that health, vision, and execution are all needed to be successful leaders. One without the others pretty much leads to nothing. We have to have all of them. And it is understandable that not all of us will be great at both visioning and execution. So if you're great at visioning, find somebody to help you execute. And if you're great at execution, find somebody whose vision you can support and help execute. That way, both of you can become successful leaders. And the last anchor value, community. Under community, we believe that humanity, contentment, family are the social grounding forces that make us feel fulfilled and happy. At the end of the day, even though we're successful as leaders, if we don't have anybody to share that success with, then it will be a lonely success. And so we encourage everybody to think about their values. And if those values align with ours, then this may be just the right community to be a part of.
What is the mystery to life? It's fulfillment. Feelings come and go. Values kind of get you through the pain. They get you through the good times. They get you through a lot of things, but they are a higher level of consciousness and meaning.
Hello, I'm Professor Pete Alexander, and I'm excited to be participating in the LeadForward Summit 2025. And I would like to share with you one of my top personal values, which is fun. And what is more closely related to fun than anything else? Laughter. As children, we often laughed over 100 times per day. Unfortunately, as adults, we're lucky if we smile, chuckle, or laugh maybe 5 times a day. That's why I became a laughter yoga ambassador, to be able to help others laugh more and live better and help overcome life's daily challenges. When we laugh for at least 5 to 6 seconds, our bodies release positive endorphins that give us many health benefits, including stress relief. Laughter is such a powerful tool that we can use it anytime.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Gold-Waldrop. I'm one of the mentors and volunteers at the Mentoring Club. One of my values is community, and specifically about giving back. So what does community mean to me? In this case, it means giving back because as a mentor, I have experienced receiving support from others, overcoming obstacles, and achieving success. By having mentors in my life that have shared their knowledge, encouragement, and giving their time, I am grateful to these connections and relationships, and I'm able to create a ripple effect and empower mentees to achieve their potential and inspire them to do the same for others in the future. Furthermore, as an Asian American, representation matters, and I believe that giving back is a natural extension of belonging to a community.
Hi, I'm Arnold Pedregal, and I've been volunteering with the Mentoring Club for a few years now. One of the core values I wanted to talk about is family, keeping our loved ones close. To me, family is everything. They're the foundation of our lives and the reason we strive to do better. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that jobs and careers have come and go, but family is constant. At the Mentoring Club, we value family because it mirrors what we aim to build here, which is a community where we uplift, support, and inspire one another, just like family. Whether as mentors, mentees, or volunteers, we understand the importance of creating those meaningful connections that help us thrive in both our personal and professional lives. Let's cherish and prioritize our families, both at home and within this community. Thank you, and have a great day.